Hello, everyone. I am Professor Otis, and since this is an online class and our interaction is limited, I wanted to take a moment to formally introduce myself and welcome you to Marketing Yourself in the Global Marketplace. Now, I've had a chance to read through your introduction posts, your career assessments, your resume assignments, and everyone is doing an amazing job so far. I also wanted to let you know why I have designed the curriculum the way that I have. I know a lot of you are taking other classes, you have responsibilities outside of school, and because of that, I've published most of the material and assignments in advance. And I did that to give you an opportunity to work on your own pace, to work ahead, to get as much done as possible so you can focus on those other areas. Now, the only thing that I ask is that you submit your assignments on time. Unfortunately, there's a 10% penalty for all late assignments. If you're having any issues, please reach out to me. I'm here to help. I know, especially with this custom GPT assignment, not everyone is as well versed in Chat GPT yet. And we all have different experience levels with generative AI. So if you have any questions, any concerns, if there's any way that I can help you develop an amazing personal brand voice and a custom GPT that will help you, not just in this class, but as you progress along your career path, please let me know because I want you to be successful and I want you to have the tools and the option to use these tools as you progress through your educational and professional journeys. So now with that said, let's take a look at DALL-E and how we can use it to create stunning imagery to help market ourselves. Now let's delve into how we can use generative AI to create stunning imagery using DALL-E. As some of you may know, DALL-E is the default image generator for ChatGPT. Our objective in this lesson is to explore various imagery styles and craft creative prompts that achieve specific visual outcomes. Now let me introduce you to DALL-E. DALL-E is a text-to-image generator that transforms natural language prompts into realistic or creative images. Imagine describing a scene, a concept, or an object in words, and then seeing it come to life as an image. Currently, DALL-E can be accessed through platforms like ChatGPT, Copilot, Bing Image Generator, Runway, Canva, and many others. These platforms leverage DALL-E's API to integrate its capabilities, offering users easy and diverse ways to use this technology. Now, I think using DALL-E properly is an important skill that you should have as a marketer, or really for any background that you choose as you market your personal brand. It represents a significant leap in how we interact with AI, not just through words, but through the visuals that we can create using those words. DALL-E's true strength lies in its ability to transform detailed prompts into intricate images. The example prompt on this slide highlights how specifying elements such as a galaxy and HDR photograph of a person on a laptop creates an image that seamlessly integrates each element. As you can see, I've been specific with the prompt, mentioning each desired component clearly. When you do this, you can experiment with your verbiage to yield different responses. Now, so far, I haven't been able to duplicate an image output, so I think it's safe to say that no two DALL-E images are alike. In this example, though the prompt is specific, it's also simple. As we'll see, the more details you provide, the better, theoretically, the output will become. Today, I'll be highlighting four categories of imagery: realistic photos, illustrations, scenes and landscapes, and objects and products. Each style can serve unique purposes in visual storytelling and marketing. Understanding these styles can help you craft prompts that generate precisely the kind of image that you envision. Whether you're aiming for realistic detail or abstract creativity, choosing the right style ensures that your visuals align with your project goals. The prompts I used for these pictures were fairly simple. The top left was provide a lifelike image of a man and a woman standing next to each other. The top right was create an anime image of a young warrior standing on a cliff overlooking a futuristic city. The bottom left was create an impressionist painting of a couple dancing in a park. And for the bottom right, I used create a high definition photograph of a cell phone on a rustic wooden table. Now let's take a look into each of these four categories in more detail. I've created a sample prompt for each one, and then an example of how you can fill in the blanks of that prompt to create stunning imagery. So the first is realistic photos. These images are lifelike representations that can capture human expression, details, and natural settings, making them ideal for projects requiring authenticity and relatability. The reason I have realistic in quotations is because they aren't always lifelike, but they can be very close and sometimes even pass for authentic photographs. So the sample prompt I used here focuses on three main elements: an HDR photograph of a subject, which doesn't have to be a human, a location for the backdrop, a type of lighting that you wish to use, and these are all elements that photographers use during their photo shoots. Here's an example of filling in the blanks from the sample prompt to create a lifelike image. When creating your prompts, think of them as blueprints. Include clear details about the subject, the setting, and elements, in this case like lighting and style, to guide AI's rendering. For this example, I wanted to evoke a confident, business-oriented tone, specifying a person wearing a suit with a briefcase. I could have gone further with specifying environmental details, like a modern glass building in the background, which AI and DALL-E actually generated without me specifying it, or the ethnicity, the age, or the gender of the person. But as you can see, and as I just mentioned, you don't have to be ultra specific, but I found that the more details you provide, the better. Now, this is where I think you can get really creative. This type of imagery is perfect for projects that require a more artistic touch or a distinct aesthetic that stands out. Illustrations offer a range of creative options from simple sketches to highly detailed artistic compositions. I've suggested a couple of categories to keep in mind, obviously not very exhaustive, but for the purpose of this lesson, I wanted to focus on the artistic style and popular eras or movements. So for art style, we can choose everything from watercolor to spray paint and even claymation images. For era, I've listed Art Deco, Impressionist, as we saw in the second slide, and Renaissance as examples. The sample prompt I created asks for the art style or era, multiple visual elements you like to see, a location, and color schemes. Now, I thought this one was pretty cool. All I did was mention Paris, and it added a backdrop of the Eiffel Tower in the window. It's obviously Art Deco style, and I believe it does give a glamorous feel. To read through it, I typed in, generate an Art Deco image of a couple drinking coffee on a Paris cafe terrace, focusing on sleek, geometric designs with luxurious details. Use rich colors and stylized patterns to create a glamorous aesthetic. It appears that everything I asked showed up in the picture, which doesn't always happen, as we'll see in a couple of minutes. The next category is scenes and landscapes. Pretty self-explanatory. These images can bring depth, mood, and context to projects. They help create an atmosphere that enhances the message of your content. The sample prompt here asks for a landscape, visual elements you'd like to see, color schemes, and any additional scenic elements you want in the picture. So since we're at FIU, I wanted to make this picture very Miami. The prompt specifies the scene, the subject, the artistic style, and key visual details, resulting in a unique stylized output that is visually appealing and meets the specifications that we asked for. So I typed in, create a lifelike depiction of a beach, featuring a man sitting on the sand, incorporating a vaporwave style of imagery and color scheme with an emphasis on a sunset. Now, so far, all of the images that I've shared have been the first output that I received from ChatGPT, which I think is pretty impressive. However, you'll find that the desired response doesn't always work this well. When showcasing products, or in the context of this class, images that represent your personal brand, compelling visuals are important for catching attention and conveying key messages effectively. Such visuals don't just display the product, but they can also tell a story that appeals to potential customers. The sample prompt on this slide reads, assist me in creating a product mockup for a specific product. The image should include design, features, usage, and appeal to target audience by focusing on its benefits and unique attributes. Now let's consider an example of a soda brand that I made up called Fizzy Fresh. I asked ChatGPT to assist me in creating a product mockup for a soft drink called Fizzy Fresh. The image should include a pop art style with a woman in a vibrant cityscape using bold colors and clear lines with an image of a bottle and appeal to soda drinkers by focusing on its taste. Now, I believe the prompt itself does several things right. First, it focuses on the product, which in this case is the soft drink Fizzy Fresh. It specifies a pop art style that adds a playful, eye catching look. It includes a woman in a vibrant cityscape, which adds life and relatability. And the focus on bold colors and clear lines with an emphasis on taste ensures that the visual is attention grabbing and appealing to its target demographic. Now, I want you to take a look at the image. Is there anything you see missing that was in the prompt but is not in the image? I'll give you a few seconds to take a look before I tell you. All right. Now, if you said there isn't any mention of its taste, you're correct. I asked it to appeal to soda drinkers by focusing on its taste. After realizing that the image did not focus on taste like I asked it to, I went to the in painting tool in ChatGPT, highlighted an open area, and asked it to provide an additional element to focus on the taste of the product. What it gave me was the words taste fabulous in a font that keeps with the pop art and comic style. Text in DALL-E isn't perfect yet. So for adding text and other more detailed elements, I would recommend importing into Canva or using an image editing software like Photoshop or Affinity Photo. After this, I asked it to change the text from taste fabulous to refreshing, but it had trouble spelling it after multiple iterations using the inpainting tool. So in situations like this, again, I would add text using another application. Now, to give you a very general overview of some of the things that you can do with the inpainting tool, I've come up with a list of 5 types of edits that you can use. The first is adding or removing visual elements. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen those Google Pixel commercials where someone is photobombing a picture, take it with a cell phone, and they use an app, highlight the person in the background, and it removes him from the image. Now, essentially, you can do the same thing with this tool. It gives you the flexibility to make your compositions more tailored to your specific needs without compromising quality. Another example of this would be adding a speech bubble to a person to convey a thought or something that they're speaking. Next, let's talk about altering facial expressions. Now, with just a few adjustments, you can turn that frown upside down, right? Little corny, but changing the tone of the image to convey warmth and positivity. This capability is invaluable for creating relatable and emotionally engaging visuals. The inpainting tool also allows for modifications to text within images. So whether it's correcting a spelling mistake or updating information, this feature can save significant time and effort. You might also want to change the color of an element in an image, like a hat, to better align with the color palette of a brand. So with the inpainting tool, these adjustments are quick and efficient, allowing you to maintain creative control over your projects. And finally, there's background edits. You can easily change elements like a city background to a field. This feature is particularly useful for enhancing visual depth and context in illustrations or photos without having to use a new prompt or regenerate the picture from scratch. Now, in all of the examples so far, I've used at least a couple of the elements I'm about to go through in my prompts. Now, this isn't an end-all be-all list, but it should hopefully guide you and help spark some creativity as you work on your projects. So I'm going to share 5 tips for prompt creation. First is to be specific. When crafting prompts, include clear and precise details. This helps the AI to understand what you envision, minimizing ambiguity and delivering results closer to your original concept. Second, be descriptive. This step is all about enriching your prompts with sensory details. You can add elements like textures, light effects, and other unique attributes. You could say a misty forest illuminated by sunlight instead of just saying a forest. Third, mention artistic styles. If your project requires a particular aesthetic, identify it up front. Whether you're aiming for Art Deco or Impressionist, naming the style gives AI clear direction. Fourth, specify a color palette. Now, this isn't just about adding visual appeal, it ensures consistency, especially for branding when you're working on projects. I would suggest indicating colors either by name, like teal and gold for FIU, or more precisely with hex codes. You might also tie your palette to natural themes such as autumn hues or brand-specific schemes like mentioning Coca-Cola, which it should recognize as being red with black and white. Finally, provide feedback and iterate. It's rare to get perfect results on the first try. Be prepared to refine and iterate your prompts. Patience is key. Review your output, know what worked, what didn't work, and tweak your descriptions or specifications to fine-tune the outcome. Over time, this iterative process should sharpen your ability to prompt effectively, yielding more accurate results that match your creative vision. Now, I won't go into much detail here, but I've provided a list of some of the more popular GPTs for image generation. DALL-E and Canvas should be familiar to you based on this week's material. The others assist in framing prompts to come up with the best images possible. And for those mid-journey users or future users, there are even GPTs to help you come up with effective prompts to use in mid-journey. And what mid-journey is, it's an alternative AI image generator that's a little more complex, and therefore we won't get into it in this module, but there are plenty of tutorials available online. So I've come up with a quick use case to develop a LinkedIn banner, which all of you will be doing for next week's assignment. We'll also be going over this in the Canva micro lecture. If you viewed that already, then this is an alternative way to develop and generate a LinkedIn banner. So let's go into ChatGPT and put to use some of the information that we just covered. Now let's jump into ChatGPT. First, I want to point out to make sure that you're using the 4.0 model. There are a number of models that are offered, and each one specifies in something different. I think 4.0 is the best for content generation and for creating images with DALL-E. So for the sake of time, I have already created a prompt, which I'm going to paste into our input field. And I'll read through it quickly and point out a few key areas that I think will be beneficial for you as you use DALL-E to generate your LinkedIn banner images. So I asked it to design a rectangular image that is 1,584 pixels wide by 396 pixels tall. Now, these are the dimensions of a LinkedIn banner image. Now, you might be asking, why not just say design a LinkedIn banner image? Well, I found that whenever you mention a product name, or in this case, a social media platform, what it will do is it will add a picture of the icon or spell out, in this case, LinkedIn on the actual image, and I want to avoid that. So then I said it should include a soft gradient background with shades of blue and white. And I just chose blue and white because that's the color scheme of LinkedIn. Then include faint imagery of a city skyline to represent innovation and ambition with a sunset in the background. Include an HDR image of a businessman carrying a briefcase as a silhouette. Incorporate subtle abstract geometric shapes or lines to add a contemporary touch. Now, here's something that I want to point out that I think would be good for you to use as well. Use ample negative space to avoid clutter. Now, what I found is that sometimes when DALL-E generates images, it will add all types of shapes and icons, and we want to avoid that. If there's negative space, there's no need to fill it up. You can leave it alone. And finally, I said that the overall tone should reflect professionalism, career readiness, and forward thinking. And as you can see earlier on in the prompt, I asked it to include a skyline to represent innovation and ambition. And I'm using these descriptions to communicate what I want the image to communicate to whoever is looking at our profiles. So let's submit and see what DALL-E generates. Now, as a heads up, DALL-E doesn't always give us what we expect. Sometimes it doesn't follow our directions, sometimes it does. It's hit or miss. And if it doesn't, we can just try again and regenerate and maybe tweak it a little bit. But hopefully that isn't the case. All right, so what I'm going to do is click the image, which zooms in, and it looks like it included all of the elements that we asked for. It looks pretty good. What I want to do next is use the in painting tool, and that's this icon at the top, which looks like a paintbrush doing a little swirl. And let's ask it to remove this geometric shape thing in the sky that looks like a fingerprint. And let's see what it gives us. So we'll highlight that area and say, please remove the geometric shape in the sky. And it'll take a few seconds to generate. And by highlighting a portion of the image, it should only change that part of the image. And what I found is if you don't highlight anything, what it will do is it'll generate a brand new image. And that's okay. We're going to try that out next, and I'll show you what you can do if you just so happen to do that accidentally. So it takes a few seconds. It's thinking right now. It's probably focusing on just that area to generate the image. And so the image shows up on our right, and what we can do is click on it, and voila, there you see that that geometric image, that little fingerprint thing is gone. Now, let's ask it to add a bird in the sky, but this time we're not going to highlight anything. And sometimes I've done this in the past where I've been playing around with the image, and then when I ask it to change something, I forget to highlight. And so what it's going to do, as you'll see, is create a brand new image with the same specifications that we asked for in the initial image. And in this case, it added some birds. It's a lot different. I'm not sure I like this one as much. And so if you would like to scroll back to your old image, you can do that. And then we can start to make changes to this image. Now, this is all I'm going to share for today. I hope that you found it beneficial. I hope that you have fun playing around with it. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me, and I look forward to seeing the images that you create and submit for not just your LinkedIn banner image, but future assignments in this class.